catch and shoot three from Aaron Wiggins. Draymond attacking the layup, and in.
Today to give you the biggest and the best of sports stories happenings in and around the world, and we know about what happened at the weekend. Just before I start, I would like to ask our viewers at home, how has the week been so far? I mean, in the world of sport, we've seen the dismal performance coming from AFCON, superb performance coming from the Australian Open. You've seen a lot that has happened throughout the week, and this is another time to bring you the biggest and the best news in the world of sport. And welcome to Sport Unlimited on ITVS. I will be your host for today. I am Josiah Onadili, and before we start, they say charity begins at home, and we'll be starting from the Nigerian Premier Football League, which is the MPFL that is going on in Nigeria right now. I mean, we saw games that happened over the weekend, and we'll be looking at results and happenings from every venues across the country. And on Saturday, we had Doma United facing off against Rivers United, and its game ended 1-1 in favor. There was no winner in that game actually, because it was a massive game. I mean, Rivers United participating in the continent and then coming back to play away from home against Doma United, an high-flying side in the MPFL, so to say. They have been so superb this season, and Rivers United went there and they got a draw and they got a point away from that. And we have Kwara United defeating Sunshine Stars at Ilorin by 1-0. We have Bendel Insurance trashing Sporting Lagos by 3-1. Right now, any Sporting Lagos fan, you ask them how they are feeling right now, they'll tell you that they are not feeling in the best position. I mean, Sporting Lagos are very down in the relegation battles right now. So we look to see whether they will actually have a chance to turn it around, or eventually they will get relegated back into the NNL. And we have Gombe United and Bayelsa United playing out a 1-1 draw. We had Enyimba and Shooting Stars, controversial moments in that game between Shooting Stars and Enyimba. Shooting Stars playing at the Adama Sigban Stadium, Enyimba coming away from Aba to come and face Shooting Stars, and the game ended in favor of Enyimba. I mean, Enyimba scoring 2 goals and Shooting Stars only able to score 1 goal, and Enyimba taking the maximum 3 points away from Ibadan. And also we had Remo Stars defeating Abia Warriors at home at the Onikan Stadium by 2-1. Keen encounter in that game, so to say. And Niger Tornadoes against Katsina United, the game ended goalless draw. And we also had Lobby Stars defeating Plateau United at home by a lone goal, and we also had Kano Pillars defeating Atland at home by 2-1. And as well, Aqua United defeated Enugu Rangers by 1-0. Those are the results of what happened over the weekend, and giving you the tables as they stand right now in the MPFL. Give you the tables as they stand right now in the MPFL. You look at the table, you see in the number 1 position, you find the Lobby Stars there with 36 points from 19 games played. We have Raymond Stars in the 2nd positions with 35 points from 19 games played. We had Enyimba in the 3rd position with 32 points from 18 games played. They have a game to play as a spear game they have in hand. And we had Doma United at the 4th position with 32 points from 19 games. We also have Kano Pillars in the 5th position, 32 points from 19 games. And also in the relegation battles right now, we have Gombe United in the 17th position. They have 21 points from 19 games. Sporting Lagos in the 18th position. They have 18 points from 18 games. Bayelsa United in the 19th position with 18 points from 18 games. And Atland, which are the last team on the table this afternoon, they have 16 points from 18 games played. And let us tell you that in the MPFL, it will be 4 teams that will be relegating back into the NNL, not the previous setting that we have the 30 teams getting relegated into MPFL. And away from that, let's move to the African Cup of Nations that is going on right now. It has been a massive ton of events in the African Cup of Nations. I mean, to the surprising result we had from Mauritania defeating Algeria by Longo yesterday. And also we saw Ghana getting knocked out of the competition. And even right now, Ghana have already fired their coach from the competition. Gambia are also out of the African Cup of Nations right now. and news breaking this morning is that Tom Saintfiet, the Gambian coach, has already left. He has resigned from his position as the Gambian national team coach. So those are the turn of events that has happened in the African Cup of Nations. But here we have focused more on the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the way they performed. I mean, they played their game against Guinea-Bissau on Friday, and the game ended in a lone goal in favor of Nigeria. You look at Nigeria in the past two games, maybe you could argue that in the games against Ivory Coast, maybe they were splendid, they were solid defensively, but Guinea-Bissau are the lowest team on that group. I think that the Super Eagles should be able to defeat them more than 1-0, but that was not meant to be. It was only Super Eagles were only able to score a goal, and the only goal came through an own goal from Sangate, the Guinea-Bissau defender, after a cross from Moses Simon, put the ball into the back of the net. That was the only goal that actually got Nigeria out of the group as the runner-up out of the group. And in other games in Group A also, we had Equatorial Guinea playing against Cote d'Ivoire, the host nation. It was an abysmal performance from the Ivory Coast team. I mean, Equatorial Guinea solid defensively, took their chances, and they were able to score four goals to nil, thereby trashing the host by 4 goals to nil. And right now the hosts are still looking to see if they can actually come out of the Group A as the best loser from that group, but they need things to turn out in their favor right now in the African Cup of Nations. And for Nigeria in the quarterfinals, they will be playing against Cameroon, the indomitable Lions of Cameroon. That will be the team that Nigeria will be playing against at the round of 16 of the African Cup of Nations tournament. And away from the Super Eagles game, you look at the Super Eagles, and also you see them playing against Cameroon. You look like they are hopefuls. They know each other when it comes to the African Cup of Nations. Cameroon were only able to qualify to the round of 16 by defeating Gambia yesterday by 3 goals to 2. They were thanks to the late minute goal scored by Wu in the 92nd minute. That was how Cameroon were able to progress into the round of 16 away from the Super Eagles and Cameroon altogether. Let's go into the games that will be playing today, which are the last round of games at the AFCON. And tonight by 6 p.m. Namibia will be playing against Mali, and we also have South Africa playing against Tunisia. And by 9 p.m. Nigerian time, we'll be having Tanzania playing against DR Congo, and also Zambia will be playing host to Morocco. Those are the games that will be going on tonight at the African Cup of Nations. This promises to be an exciting time, an exciting series in the African Cup of Nations. Away from the African Cup of Nations, let's move to the NBA right now, the National Basketball Association, the league that is going on in the United States of America. And earlier hours of this morning, we had games that were played from Indiana Pacers against Denver Nuggets. We had Brooklyn Nets playing host to New York Knicks. We had New Orleans Pelicans playing host to Utah Jazz, and we also have the OKC Thunder playing host to Portland Trail Blazers. We also have the Los Angeles Clippers playing host to their local rivals, the Los Angeles Lakers. And in those games, we saw Denver Nuggets away from home defeating the Indiana Pacers by 114 points to 109. Denver Nuggets taking that one, defending champions, doing so well for themselves right now. We also had the Brooklyn Nets against the New York Knicks. The game ended 108 to 130 points in favor of the New York Knicks. And also the New Orleans Pelicans actually played host to the Utah Jazz, and the game ended in a 153 points to 124 points in favor of the New Orleans Pelicans. You look at that game, you see massive scoring, post-score points, overtime into that game, and it was so massive in that game. And also in Oklahoma, we had the Oklahoma City Thunder playing at home and defeating the Portland Trail Blazers by 111 points to 109 points. And also the last game, the derby, it went down in Los Angeles yesterday, early hours of this morning. We saw the Los Angeles Clippers defeating the Los Angeles Lakers by 127 points to 116 points. So that was how it panned out in the NBA in the early hours of today. Away from the NBA, let's move to tennis. And we all know that right now the biggest tournament that is going on right now in the world of tennis is the Australian Open. We have seen a massive upset that has occurred. I mean, Naomi Osaka getting knocked out in the first round. Iga Swiatek, the world #1, getting knocked out in the third round by an amateur for that matter. So we have seen a lot of shocking results, a lot of happenings that has happened in the Australian Open. And right now we are in the quarterfinals. We are going into the later stages of the Australian Open. Some games have been played, and early hours of this morning, we also had other games that were played this morning. And in the men's singles Australian Open, Hubert Hurkacz lost to Daniel Medvedev by 7-6, 6-3, 7-5, 6-4 respectively. That's a massive one for defeating Hubert Hurkacz, who is qualifying for the quarterfinals of the Australian Open for the first time. And also right now we had a game going on between Alexander Zverev and then Carlos Alcaraz. The game is still ongoing. We don't have the final results yet, but as of now, before we enter the studio, we had Alexander Zverev getting the first set and the second set, but by the third set, Carlos Alcaraz came back to win the third set. And right now in the fourth set, Carlos Alcaraz is leading the fourth set by 3-2. So that is what is happening in the. Also, before we leave the men's singles tournament, let us make it clear to you that Novak Djokovic, the defending champion of the Australian Open, has actually progressed to the semi-finals of this year's Australian Open. And also Yannick Sinner also has progressed after defeating Andrei Rublev of Russia in their game yesterday. And also in the women's singles tournament, we had games that were played today. And also we have also had games that were played yesterday. And over the weekend, we saw Coco Gauff pushing it through to the semi-finals of the Australian Open, and also we saw Aryna Sabalenka also moving on to the semi-finals of the Australian Open. And right now the pair-off for the semi-finals of the Australian Open will be between Aryna Sabalenka and then Coco Gauff. Coco Gauff, the 19-year-old sensation in the world of tennis for the female ladies. Many have even compared her to the retired Serena Williams, that she has a lot to offer. Brilliant tennis player for that matter. And in this semi-final, we'll be seeing a repeat of the US Open that happened last year, in which Coco Gauff defeated Aryna Sabalenka in that game. And also today we had games going on in the Australian Open. In the women's tournament, we had Linda Noskova losing out to Diana Yastremka of Russia, and the game ended in favor of Diana Yastremka by in which she won 6-3, 6-4 in that game. And also we had Anna Kalinskaya also playing against Qin Wenzheng of China, and the game ended in favor of Qin Wenzheng. I mean, in the first set, Anna Kalinskaya actually got the better of Qin Wenzheng by defeating her by 7 points to 6 and 7-6. And in the second set, we had Qin Wenzheng come back by defeating Anna by 6-3. And also in the third set, she actually won that one by 6-1. So that's what is happening presently in the world of tennis in the women's edition of the Australian Open. And in the semi-final, we'll be having Diana Yastremka facing off against Qin Wenzheng. And note that these two players will be playing in the Australian Open semi-finals for the first time in their career as a tennis player. So away from that, let's move to the Premier League. We had games over the weekend, and games that happened over the weekend, I mean, in the Premier League, they are on break now. Some teams played in a long time ago, and other teams played their games over the weekend. And in that game, in the early kickoff on Saturday afternoon, we had Arsenal playing against Crystal Palace at the Emirates Stadium, and the game ended in favor of Arsenal by 5-0. I mean, Crystal Palace in that game, they were very, very dismal, and Arsenal were very, very impressive, taking their chances, and they were able to score 5 goals in that game. And also in that late kickoff on Saturday night, we had Brentford hosting Nottingham Forest, and that game actually marked the comeback of Ivan Toney, the Brentford striker, who was banned for 8 months for betting scandal that he had on him. And he came back, and guess what? In the 19th minute, it only took Ivan Toney 19 minutes to be back on the score sheet, which was a massive one for Brentford, because they eventually went on to win that game by 3-2 after Sheffield United got their goals through Chris Wood in that game and Danilo in the 3rd minute. So Brentford were able to defeat Nottingham Forest in that game by 3-2, thereby ending their 7 games winless streak and then getting the maximum point out of that game. And on Sunday, the action still continues in the Premier League, where we had Sheffield United against West Ham United, and the game ended in a 2-2 draw. Massive game in that encounter. 2 red cards happening in that game. It's an intense game that is up to pressure for both teams. But but the game ended in a 2 goals draw. And in also against Bournemouth, in the game between Bournemouth and Liverpool, the game ended 4 goals to 0 in favor of Liverpool against Bournemouth. You look at Liverpool, massive. They have been so impressive this season, getting the needed result for them to be at the top of the Premier League table right now, and they stand at the top of the Premier League table. We are, and other teams are still chasing them. And on Monday, which was the late night game over the weekend, we also had Brighton against Wolves, and the game ended in a goalless draw. And you look at the game between Brighton and Wolves, you see a whole lot of chances coming on in that game, but neither team were able to find the back of the net, and that was how the game ended, in a goalless draw. And for the Premier League table right now, we have Liverpool in the first position. After 21 games played, they have 48 points, sitting on top of the Premier League table. And in second position, we have Manchester City with 43 points from 20 games, having a game in hand. And also in the third position, we have Arsenal. After 21 games, have 43 points. Aston Villa in fourth position. After 21 games, they have 43 points. Tottenham in the fifth position. After 21 games, they have 40 points. And West Ham United in the sixth position. After 21 games, they have 35 points. And Brighton, occupying the last European qualification ticket, they are seventh on the table with 21 games played, and they have 32 points accordingly. Now into the lower part of the relegation battles, you have Luton Town at 18th position. 20 games, they have 16 points. We have Burnley, played 21 games, having 12 points. And Sheffield United, they have played 21 games, and they have 10 points in the 28th position this afternoon. Now away from the Premier League, and let's move to the Spanish La Liga, in which games were played over the weekend. We had games that were played over the weekend from the Spanish La Liga, and we had Alaves on Friday playing against Cadiz United, and Alaves took the maximum 3 points from that game. They defeated Cadiz by a lone goal, by 1-0, as you can see on your screen. And we also have Rayo Vallecano on Saturday, the early kickoff games that was played. We had Rayo Vallecano losing at home to Las Palmas by 2-0. We had Villarreal playing against Mallorca, and the game ended in a 1-1 draw. And also on Saturday night, we had Valencia playing host to Athletic Bilbao in that one, and then Valencia got the maximum 3 points by defeating Athletic Bilbao by a lone goal. And also Celta Vigo on Saturday night actually played host to Real Sociedad, and the game ended in favor of Real Sociedad. Real Sociedad winning that one by 1-0. And on Sunday, Osasuna and Getafe, it ended in favor of Osasuna by 3-2. And also Real Madrid coming back from 2 goals down to defeat Almeria in that game, and the game ended in favor of Real Madrid by 3-2. Barcelona against Real Betis, an interesting encounter in that game. Barcelona were leading at halftime, and then Real Betis came back, and then Barcelona had to equalize for the game to turn 2-2. And at the end of the game, Barcelona needed 2 late goals to score for them to be able to take the maximum 3 points, in which they did well, with Ferran Torres scoring an hat-trick in that game, and also giving an assist for Joao Felix in that game for the game to end 4-2 in favor of Barcelona. And Girona, high-flying Girona, tabletoppers Girona right now, they actually defeated Sevilla by 5-1, a whooping 5 goals. And Artem Dovbyk, who has been doing so well for them in the Spanish La Liga, he has 16 goals this season, has scored he scored an hat-trick in that game against Sevilla, and the game ended in favor of Girona by 5-1. And yet on Monday, we also had Atletico Madrid playing away from home against Granada, and the game ended in favor of Atletico Madrid, taking the maximum 3 points in that game. And also in the Spanish La Liga table right now, we have Girona sitting fresh at the top of the league with 52 points from 21 games. Real Madrid have 51 points from 20 games. Barcelona has 44 points from 20 games. They are sitting down in the third positions, and Atletico Madrid sitting down in the fourth position at 41 points also from 20 games. Atletico Bilbao in the fifth position, they have played 21 games, and then they have 41 points. Real Sociedad in the sixth position have 21 points from have 35 points from 21 games. And in the relegation battle in the Spanish La Liga, we all have Cadiz playing 21 games and then having 15 points. Granada in the 19th positions with 11 points from 21 games, and Almeria in the 20th position having 6 points from 21 games. Those are the table from the Spanish La Liga this afternoon. Moving away from the Spanish La Liga, we have the Serie A. Serie A games were also played over in Italy in the Serie A, and we had Roma giving their new coach Daniel De Rossi a grand welcome in their stadium at the Stadio Olimpico by winning their games by 2-1. I mean, goals from Romelu Lukaku and then Paulo Dybala in that game were enough for Roma to get the maximum 3 points. And other results from the Italian Serie A, we had AC Milan going away from home to defeat Udinese by 3-0 with 3-2. We had Frosinone playing at home against Cagliari, and the game ended 3-1 in favor of Frosinone. And also Empoli playing at home against Monza. Empoli whooped Monza by 3-0, and Genoa also defeated Salernitana away from home by 2-1, and Juventus keeping it tight at the top of the table, piling pressure on Inter Milan right now. They won away from home by defeating Lecce by 3-0 away from the Italian Serie A. Moving on to the Bundesliga this afternoon, and we had games also played over there in Germany in the German Bundesliga. And on Saturday, we had Wolfsburg playing against Adenham, and the game ended in a 1-1 draw. Freiburg against Hoffenheim, the game ended in favor of Freiburg by 3-2. Borussia Dortmund went away from home and then walloped FC Köln by 4-0. And also we had Darmstadt against Eintracht Frankfurt, and the game ended in a 2-2 draw in that encounter. We also have VfL Bochum playing host to Stuttgart, and then Stuttgart lost in that game to VfL Bochum by a lone goal. And on Saturday night, we had the biggest game in the German Bundesliga, where we had RB Leipzig playing host to Bayer Leverkusen. Table toppers Bayer Leverkusen, unbeaten in all competitions this season, scored 85 goals, conceded only 20 goals in their season so far, and they have been so impressive in the German Bundesliga this season. And now they went away to defeat RB Leipzig by 3-2 thanks to a late goal from Nkampi in that game. And on Sunday, a shocking result for Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena, getting beaten at home by Werder Bremen by a lone goal, and Bayern Munich were not able to find a way back in that game, and the game ended in favor of Werder Bremen. And also Augsburg against Borussia Mönchengladbach, the game ended in favor of Augsburg, defeating Borussia Mönchengladbach by 2-1. Away from the Bundesliga this afternoon, let us give you the standings in the Bundesliga. We have Bayer Leverkusen sitting down atop of the Bundesliga with 48 points from 18 games. Bayern Munich in the second positions with 41 points from 17 games. Stuttgart with 34 points from 18 games in the third position. RB Leipzig with 33 points from 18 games in the fourth position. And in the fifth position, we have Borussia Dortmund with 33 points from 18 games. And in the sixth position, we have Eintracht Frankfurt with 28 points from 18 games. And in the relegation battle right now, we have Mainz 05 in the 16th position. Having played 17 games, they have 11 points. FC Köln in the 17th position. Having played 18 games, they have 11 points also. And Darmstadt in the 18th position. Having played 18 games, they have 11 points also. Those are the way they stand in the German Bundesliga this afternoon. And also we have a rescheduled game in the German Bundesliga today, in which Bayern Munich will be playing against UFC Union Berlin in that game. It's a rescheduled game in the German Bundesliga. And this will be all we'll be able to take this afternoon. Thanks to everyone who was a part of this show. We say thank you for watching from wherever you are watching us from. And this is the ITV here. Stay tuned and don't go nowhere. My name is Josiah Onadele. See you in the next edition.
And now there's a red flag to repair the... And